is up, Pulse Chain and Better Bankers? Grab your coffee or maybe your pumpkin spice cold brew because it is September. It is the Burr months and pumpkin spice is back, baby. Today we are diving into one of the wildest drama sagas in Pulse Chain lately, the BetterBank exploit. As you all know, I follow BetterBank a lot, and it's time to talk. Let's spill some tea. We're going to talk about the exploit itself, the timeline, the team's response, and what is next for the protocol. And I'm going to finish with some super juicy alpha that is exclusive to me, MoteItBe. You heard it here first. You're not going to want to miss it. So let's rewind the clock. It's August 26th at about 10:15, 10:20 Eastern Standard Time. That's the day everything went sideways for BetterBank. BetterBank was on a boom. The Trump official wallet just officially deposited just days before and tripled the locked liquidity. Suddenly, we got a message in the Telegram group and Discord that a vulnerability had been discovered and exploited. I believe it was in the first 10 minutes of the exploit firing. Had pulled the emergency brake, they paused the protocol and started doing damage control and communicating with the community, which is almost unheard of in DeFi. Many people would just have ghosted. There was no ghosting, there's no vague messages. They faced the music and went in, and I have to commend them for that. They went straight to action, especially when the entirety of the chain was screaming, rug, 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 we're all lost our money. So I want to commend Nikki and the guys for their response. I think the timeline, the communication sense has been top notch. I can't say enough about that. So, let's see what happened. First, they locked everything down to prevent further damage. They started taking steps to protect funds. They started tracing wallets, calculating losses, and announced a 20% bounty for the return of the funds. You ready for the crazy part? You may have heard this. They implored the exploiter to return a portion of the funds, and they would consider it a bug bounty and walk away. He or they did not do that, but interestingly, some assets got sent back. Now, this has sparked a ton of conversation and controversy about that. It's actually not as rare as it sounds. I feel like I've personally seen that 2 or 3 times, but it did raise some eyebrows. Was it an inside job? My gut says probably not. This was a major black eye to BetterBank and the team, a major pain in the ass, and ultimately, as we're going to talk about, they end up having to foot the bill. So once they received those partial refund, also heard from the PDI group, some folks said that it was essentially because most of the liquidity was gone. The tokens weren't really worth a whole lot, having already sold the Pulse and Pulse X that was taken in the exploit as well. And that's something to remember. Pulse X and PDI were all exploited in this attack, not just PDI. Which again kind of supports the theory that maybe there just wasn't enough liquidity after they sold, $2.5 million of it. So it sent prices tumbling across the chain, but especially those 3 tokens. But once they received that partial refund, it did give them breathing room. Nikki and the team went to work about how to get solvent, safe, and see that they would recover. Now here's where it gets juicy. The recovery plan. The BetterBank team didn't just patch the whole, call it a day, are taking enormous steps. They brought in an army of auditors. Initially, the protocol was audited by just one company. In fact, the exploit involved an audited contract, which was really bizarre. It looked like it was a combination of potential recommendation from the audit. You can look at the audit at the GitHub. Well, I'll post that in the description. And another part that was more theoretical that they couldn't replicate, the auditors couldn't replicate, is like, hey, theoretically, this is something to look at. It looked like the exploiter kind of parts of both and combined it to make a unique exploit. They have responded to this in the following way. Are you ready for this? They've brought in an army of auditors. So we're talking Halborn, Peck Shield, Failsafe, Code Spec, Oxguard, Interfi, and maybe others. So you're talking 6 or 7 separate teams are now combing through the code. Plan is to open another week or 2. The goal of being mid to late September. So after at least 2 of those firms give the protocol a green light. So that's our timeline. Meanwhile, they froze interest in the strongholds to zero in order to stop bad debt from spiraling. And they moved bad debt into protocol owned. So, in other words, they have assumed the bad debt. In addition to that, giving borrowers a grace period if some of the changes involved due to your specific might be considered unfair liquidations. There is a grace period. So once the protocol is relaunched, there will be a grace period for those affected to take steps, since essentially they weren't given the opportunity since the protocol was frozen. So in moving the bad debt to the protocol-owned wallets, giving grace periods, and then they're handling what they call exotic cases manually. So if you were holding single-sided favor speculatively, you didn't collateralize it, you didn't borrow against it, where Nikki and the team had directed people to go to the official Discord, which can be found on their X or their GitHub, and you can submit a ticket for consideration of those kind of tokens. I know that there are something like 9 wallets that were engaging in some really strange collateralization behavior that is actually specifically discouraged. So they're really bending over backwards, in my opinion, to like ultra fair, even with people who were engaging in practices for BetterBank that aren't recommended. So now let's talk about the future of the protocol. This is where it gets really exciting. They are airdropping brand new Esteem tokens to all legitimate holders. So essentially anybody that's not isn't the exploiter will get a airdropped version 2.0 of the Esteem. They're setting up a larger LP cushion mechanism. There's more stability to the favor tokens going forward in the future. And I'm also understand that it will keep a favor prices closer to that TWAP of 3.0. So just above or just below. And less deep dives even under normal operation, with 6 or 7 audits coming essentially right out of the gate, and then set additional audits down the road periodically. Maybe it's every 6 months or every year, getting another audit essentially until there are no many more audit companies. And then his goal is within a year or so to offer a ridiculous bug bounty. Mention numbers in the high and multi 6 figures for bug bounties. So really setting a high bar for future protocols down the road that on Pulse Chain could be the most audited and safe protocol in DeFi. So pretty strong words, and I'm pretty excited for that. I keep thinking of like a phoenix rising from the ashes here. Okay, I kept you waiting long enough. My exclusive alpha I promised at relaunch. Are you ready for this? It was hinted before, and Nikki has told me that it is confirmed. BetterBank will introduce eDAI, some call it erection DAI. Yep, pegged stablecoin DAI from Ethereum is making its way into the stronghold. So what does this mean? Stronghold deposits typically have a variable APY of 30 to 70%. Initially, it may not be there. We saw that in some of the earliest days with the original launch of BetterBank, but we did see some APYs of 30 to 70% prior to the exploit. I have no doubt they will get there. That's not just strong yield, folks. That is game changing. That is protein packed APY. So let's have some fun. Let's run some numbers. And this isn't financial advice. You do whatever you want. I'm not telling you to buy BetterBank. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just saying this is what I'm looking at very strongly. Let's say I put $1,000 deposit into the stronghold and I'm earning on average 50% APY across a year. So that's the average of 30 to 70%. Let's say that we're at a perfect average around 50%. You earn interest in the token you deposit. So if I deposit PDAI, or I deposit Pulse, or I deposit Pulse X, in this, I'm earning that token is interest. In this scenario, we're talking about eDAI. It's pegged DAI, Ethereum DAI. If I were to put $1,000 of Ethereum DAI there in year 4, you're looking at $7,400. Cool, 7.4x through a bear, right? Okay, so now 2 cycles at 8 years, you're looking at $54,000. But you're not ready for the next number, because by 12 years, that same $1,000 at 50% API is over 400 grand. Yeah, life changing. And that's from a single $1,000 deposit. I think you could probably DCA and do some cool stuff on what might be the most audited safe protocol in all of crypto history. No, I'm going to be watching it really closely. Here's some fun stuff. If you're into numerology, something super wild. The exploit happened on a numerological day of 7. 7 is the number of revealing hidden truths. So that's pretty interesting. The team responded in 10 minutes. 10 is the number of completion. And today's date, 9/9/2025. That's 999 energy. As many of you know, 999 energy around the blood moon. The number of endings, wisdom, and closure. So you couldn't really script this better. This is the old cycle closing. The shadow, the blood moon is a shadow across the moon. Let's clear away the shadow. Let's start fresh. Phoenix from the ashes. BetterBank preparing to be reborn. So this is where we stand. BetterBank faced the shadow of the exploit, but the team responded in 10 minutes, froze the damage, and started steps to make users whole and come back stronger than ever. I didn't mention this before, so I'll mention it now. Additionally, the code has been simplified to reduce the attack surface. So there's less bloat, simpler code, more auditing, more eyes, and continual auditing and safety as a primary interest. So with audits stacked, debts restructured or absorbed by the team, and EDI arriving soon to fuel massive yields, not only for better bankers, but for all of Pulse Chain. The future looks brighter than ever to me, and how fitting is the timing? We're talking about 9/9/2025, the rare 999 portal, blood moon of closure and transformation. So just days after the blood moon, we're looking at endings, renewal, and rebirth. You can't script this. The story writes itself. So BetterBank isn't just surviving this. I think they're coming back under reborn under a cosmic sign of closure and new beginnings. I'm going to be following this really closely, as you guys already know. I'm going to come at you with some new videos consistently. I'm going to try and do 2 videos a week here going forward. But I wanted to get you this really special update, not just on their response and how things are going, along with their timeline to reopening and that big news. I intend personally to manifest and make this the end of our misery, the end of our months of depression and sideways movement, and the beginning of something fresh, new, and abundant. Are you with me? May we move out of the shadows and the extractors and into the light of plenitude. So MoteItBe. I am MoteItBe. On Twitter, I am at MoteItBe, MoteItBe369. You can find me on Rumble or here on YouTube. Don't forget to like. Drop your thoughts down below. Check out the comments and the notes. Do you think BetterBank is about to turn a new page? Do you think this crisis is their defining moment? I guess we'll see. Until next time, I am MoteItBe Steve-O. Have a good one.
Payday! Papa getting rich? That's a